Welcome to today's deep dive. You shared this author's writing with me, and wow, her story really gets you thinking.
I know,
She's dealing with the aftermath of some pretty serious illnesses,
yeah.
but she's also using writing as a way to kind of process it all.
Yeah, what strikes me is just her resilience. I mean, think about it. Meningitis, sepsis, and Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, all at 16.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just about surviving for her. She's actively seeking growth, in spite of all the physical challenges and the fact that she's still dealing with ITP.
Exactly. That's what makes this deep dive so fascinating, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about resilience. It's about transformation.
Yeah.
She's taking these incredibly difficult experiences and she's turning them into fuel for personal evolution.
It's like she's saying, okay, these illnesses, they might have shaped my body, but they don't define my spirit.
Right.
And the way she talks about this need to deconstruct the ego and reconstruct the heart, that really suggests a deliberate shift in focus. From the limitations of the physical self to the potential of her inner self.
She mentions that all she knows how to do is trust the process. But when she says trust the process, it's not some vague mantra.
No.
It feels like a very active choice to keep moving forward, even when the path ahead, it's not clear.
Absolutely. And she's doing this, in the context of her writing. She describes it as a catalyst for growth. And a way to, I guess, translate her experiences into something meaningful, even beautiful.
Yeah, there's this image that she uses talking about writing as a way to translate her experiences into beautiful growth of self.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Because it suggests that even the most difficult things, they can become something positive, something that helps us develop as people.
Yeah, it's like alchemy, right?
Yeah.
Turning her pain into wisdom, her struggles into strength. And you're right, that word translation, it's key. Because she's not just telling us what happened. She's really working to understand what it all means, what are the lessons, and how does she integrate those lessons into who she is.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. So she's clearly drawn to this path of healing and growth, but she also admits to feeling like it's this portal to another dimension. She says it makes her feel less human, but it's also a journey that she feels like she has to take.
It's like that feeling of disorientation that comes with transformation.
Yeah.
When you start to question everything you thought you knew, when you step outside of what's familiar, it can feel like a whole new reality, a reality where the old rules, they don't apply anymore.
Yeah. And it's in this unfamiliar territory that she feels like she has to create her own belief system, one that fits with her unique experiences. She talks about needing to build her own framework.
It's about self-authorship.
Yeah.
It's about taking ownership of our own beliefs and values, right? And not just accepting what we've been told. It's discerning. It's figuring out what truly resonates with our deepest selves.
She keeps coming back to this idea of listening to the song of her soul. I know it sounds kind of abstract.
Yeah.
But I think what she's getting at is how important it is to tune in to our own inner wisdom, that quiet voice inside that guides us towards our truth, our purpose.
And for her, that song seems to be leading her towards a deeper connection to something bigger than herself, and a connection that goes beyond just believing. It's about feeling the truth of that connection.
She says she wants to move beyond believing to feeling.
Right.
I think that's such a powerful distinction because it highlights that difference between just knowing something in your head and actually experiencing it, embodied experience.
It's one thing to say, I believe in a higher power. It's another thing to feel that presence in your life, to experience that connection. And it seems like that's what she's seeking, a more visceral, embodied experience of spirituality.
And it's interesting because this desire for a deeper connection also seems to be tied to her feelings about her relationship, her long-term relationship.
And that's where things get tricky, right? Because now we're talking about personal growth colliding with interpersonal dynamics.
Yeah.
How do we honor our commitments to other people while also staying true to ourselves and what we need as we grow and evolve? It's really striking how honest she is about this whole internal conflict. She's not shying away from how messy it all is, the conflicting emotions and the tough choices.
What's interesting to me is how she connects this tension to her physical experiences. I mean, she's had to deal with so much physically.
Yeah.
And now she's talking about her heart needing space to evolve. It's almost like she's drawing a parallel between her physical limitations and the limitations she's feeling in her relationship.
That's a good point. It's like she's recognizing this pattern of breaking free from constraints in order to grow.
Hmm.
We see it in her determination to overcome the physical challenges, and now we're seeing it in her relationship too.
She talks about how her partner, this grounding force, how he allowed her inner spirit to kind of traverse the world, while her physical spirit dealt with the day-to-day.
Yeah.
You can feel the gratitude there. She acknowledges the role he's played in her life.
Absolutely. And she's not, she's not trying to put him down or anything
Right.
or make him out to be the bad guy.
Right.
She's simply recognizing that her needs, they're changing, and she's trying to figure out how to honor those needs while still respecting their commitments.
But there's also this, this urgency,
Mm.
this feeling that she can't stay stuck,
Yeah.
in a situation that's not serving her highest good.
Yeah.
She talks about feeling like her heart can't evolve any further in this relationship. It's like she's outgrown the container.
It's a painful realization, especially when it involves someone you love. It's realizing that sometimes to grow, we have to let go, even if it's something that gave us comfort and stability before.
And that's where this idea of trusting the process comes in again. She's acknowledging the fear, the uncertainty she feels, but she's still choosing to step into the unknown, guided by that deep inner knowing.
It's faith, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not in a religious sense, but faith in herself, in her own wisdom.
And this trust seems to be rooted in this desire for something more, something she can't fully define, but she can feel it pulling at her soul, a deeper connection, more authenticity, a love that transcends her current reality.
And this is where I think her writing becomes so powerful for her. It helps her process what she's going through, but it also helps her create a new reality, a reality where those deeper desires can exist, where they can find expression.
She even says that the intention behind her writing is to return home to her own pure love and to share that love. It's a beautiful aspiration.
It is.
And it speaks to the transformative power of creativity, how it can heal us and inspire others.
It's like she's using her writing to build a bridge between the world she's experiencing now, a world that feels so fragmented and limiting, and the world she wants, a world of love, connection, and wholeness.
While she's dealing with all these complex feelings about her relationship and her own growth, she also seems to be making peace with how her illnesses have affected her sense of self.
Yeah, that's a key part of this, right? It's not just about moving on. It's about bringing all the parts of herself together, including the parts that have been hurt.
She talks about wanting to create this masterful fabric of who she is, a tapestry that includes everything, the good and the bad, the joy and the pain.
Weaving it all together. That's how we heal, how we become whole.
Yeah. It's about recognizing that our experiences don't define us. It's how we choose to integrate those experiences into our story.
Exactly.
She doesn't act like she has all the answers, but she's definitely committed to doing the work,
Yeah.
to showing up for herself in a way that honors her past and her future.
And that's what's so inspiring, right? It reminds us that even when things are hard, we have the power to choose healing, growth, love. And that choice, that's a powerful act of creation.
We've covered so much already. But I want to hear more about how she navigates this awakening, this feeling of being awake within a world that she didn't understand.
It sounds like she's on the verge of a breakthrough.
Yeah.
I want to see how she bridges that gap between her inner world and the outer world, and what she learns from that process.
We've been talking about some pretty heavy stuff, resilience, transformation, this search for meaning. But there's this phrase, feeling awake in a world that she didn't understand. It's like it captures everything,
Yeah.
That struggle to make sense of her inner experiences and the reality around her.
Yeah, it's like a shift in consciousness, an awakening to something more, but it doesn't fit with the world around her.
She even says it made the world feel fragmented and nonsensical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a sudden thing, a big epiphany.
Right.
It's more like this gradual realization,
Yeah.
this growing awareness.
Yeah. It can be so disorienting, especially if you don't have the words to explain it.
Yeah, like being in a foreign country where you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
She talks about feeling stuck in this physical world experience,
Yeah.
longing for something bigger. But it's not just a longing, is it?
No.
She's actively searching, trying to bridge that gap between the tangible and the intangible.
And that's what I admire about her, that determination. She's not waiting around for some enlightenment to strike.
Right.
She's out there doing the work.
She mentions that she already knows certain truths, but hasn't fully integrated them. She wants to move from knowing to feeling.
It's about embodiment. It's not enough to just have these ideas in your head. Real change happens when we bring those beliefs into our bodies.
And this desire for embodiment seems to be driving her exploration of different spiritual practices. She talks about navigating the unexplainable space of her mystical reality.
Hmm.
It sounds like she's really experimenting with different ways to connect.
Yeah, trial and error, listening to her gut and following those little synchronicities. It's great that she's not afraid to forge her own path, create her own unique spiritual practice.
And this awakening, it's affecting her views on love and relationships too. She talks about wanting to experience a deeper, more authentic love, one that's not based on conditions.
Unconditional love.
Yeah, a love that embraces every part of us.
Absolutely.
She even says that the silent intention behind her writing is to return home to her pure love and to share that love with someone.
That's beautiful.
It really is. And it speaks to the power of creativity, not just to heal ourselves, but to spread that healing out into the world.
It's like a ripple effect.
And this desire for a more expansive love, it's a big part of why she's reevaluating her long-term relationship. She's realizing that to make room for this new love, she has to let go of what's no longer serving her.
It takes courage to do that,
Yeah.
especially when you're disrupting the status quo.
She knows there are challenges ahead, uncertainty, but she chooses to trust the process, to believe that this journey will lead her to a place of wholeness and fulfillment.
Her story is such a powerful reminder that we all have the capacity to awaken, to connect more deeply with ourselves and the world, and to create a life that's true to who we are, to our purpose.
It's been an incredible journey exploring these ideas: resilience, transformation, the human spirit's search for meaning in the face of so much adversity. Thank you for bringing this author's work to our attention. May her courage, vulnerability, and trust inspire us all.